Welcome to my channel, Learn and Earn, to live your life on your own terms. Hello everyone, you're welcome to my channel Learn and Earn Academy. And today in this video, we are going to talk about the mergers of Indian banks. Is it good or bad? Now, we all must have heard about this news wherein the government has merged the major banks of the country, and the government is planning to merge more banks in the days to come. Now, why the government has merged all these banks? Which are the banks which are getting merged? How does it help the government? And what are the problems which the people and the government may face? Now, we are going to find all the answers to these questions in this video. So, let us first see which are the banks which are getting merged. Now, Ministry of Finance has announced to merge 10 state-owned banks to create 4 large entities or lenders. Under the plan, Oriental Bank of Commerce and United Bank of India will be merged with Punjab National Bank. The second is Canara Bank will be merged with Syndicate Bank. Third, Andhra Bank and Corporation Bank will be merged with Union Bank of India. Fifth, Allahabad Bank will be merged with Indian Bank. So the number of public sector banks would be reduced to 12 after the merger. Now, you must observe from all these mergers that all the banks which have been merged are merged on the basis of regional presence. And the lead bank or the bank in which the other bank is being merged has a major proportion of assets and is more stable among the others. So this is the basic criteria on the basis of which the government has merged these banks. So why are the banks getting merged? What is the reason why the government wants to merge all the banks? Now we all must have heard this story in our childhood that united we stand, divided we fall. Now we all are aware of the turmoil, the problem through which the banking industry is going through, the ever increasing NPAs and the losses which the banks are facing is not only impacting the banks alone but the entire economy. We are in a phase where the Indian economy is on the verge of a slowdown, and the way the public sector banks are functioning is a major reason of this slowdown. So let us understand why the banks are getting merged by the government. Public sector banks compete with each other for the same consumer base and services. It leads to downsizing of their business. Now we all know that banking is a competitive industry now. Every bank is running after the same customer. So why to have 10 people running after one person? Let's have 4 people run after one person and let the best get one. So that even if one gets, only 3 people are affected by it. So this is the basic idea behind merger of the bank. So by having large size banks, also the competition among these banks will be more, and the benefit will be not only to the people, to the customers, but also to the Indian economy. And these banks can go global. These merged banks can respond better to emerging market trends or shifts and compete more with the private banks. Now it's really difficult for a public sector bank to compete with a private bank. But now with the merger, I'm sure the public sector banks are in a better position to compete not only with private banks but with global banking industry. Now mergers can improve the operational efficiency once they lower the cost of lending and improve lending. Now these mergers will drastically reduce the operational cost and will also save a lot of expenditure which is which can be avoided. Now in the past there have been committees such as Narsimha committee which had recommended that India should have fewer but better managed banks to ensure optimal use of capital, wider reach and greater profitability. So how does it help the government? The government of India was the biggest shareholder of around 25 banks over the years. Now, once the bank is led by the government has to take care of the bank. And even if the bank is making a loss, the government has to compensate it by giving it capital. So, if few banks are there, the government does not have to bother about giving or providing capital to these banks because these banks will already be very strong banks. And since there will be few, even if there is a requirement of capital infusion, that will be less. Second reason is banks often need higher capital to grow and lend more loans. However, the government was not willing to provide it on many occasions. The government does not have money to give to banks even after they are facing the crisis of NPA because the government have other things to manage. The government needs to spend on hospitals, schools, infrastructure, road. It cannot keep on giving capital infusion to loss making public sector banks. So this is one of the major reasons. Other reason was the government was facing problems such as corruption, inefficient management and performing assets. Now you can imagine having 25 banks will have 25 CEOs, MDs, chairmen, etc. etc. But having just four big banks will have four best among the 25 managing these four banks. How efficient and good the management can become. So the government has the choice to choose the best among the best. By reducing the number of banks to a manageable count, the government will face a lower number of demands for capital infusion, which is a major concern for the government. It will progressively increase the efficiencies of the merged banks and increase their capitals. It will also help the government to focus on fewer banks than earlier in the past. Now, what is the problem? What are the issues which the economy may face? Now, operational risks such as resistance from the staff and unions will definitely be an issue, but that will be for a temporary phase because the employees in the merged entities will face issues like cultural shift, re-employment, fewer career opportunities, etc. It can lead to deterioration of services and disruption in the operations of involved banks, and it can cause a bit turmoil. There will be fewer options available for customers for banking services. The combined bad loan of these banks are also an issue. Possible creation of systematically important institutions. Banks which are too big to fail can hurt the government and financial stability. Globally, there are mixed results of such examples. Only 50% of the bank mergers have succeeded. The bank consolidation will not help because problem is structural and of governance. So these are some of the aspects which we all need to think about. That the merger is good if we look in a positive sense, but there are also issues and concerns which we all must be aware of. and I'm sure the government will also be thinking about the same. So I hope this video would have given you valuable information and would have thrown insight on both the positive and negatives of the bank merger. So if you like this video, you can press the like button, subscribe to our channel and share it on social media. Thank you.